All right. So the entire gist of since you can see the screen, yeah, we're talking about ethics and social responsibility, and we're starting with the models of the professional client relationship. The models of professional client relationship. All right. So I think the first question is, let me ask, who is a client before we even jump into what you have in front of you? Who is a client, everybody? Can you put something in the chat? Who is a client? But if you want to mute yourself, yes, you can. Who is a client? Tell me something. Who is a client? Okay, right now in this case, right now, this class setting, who is the client? Who is the professional?
You are the professional. I am your client.
Yeah, the client, exactly. So that's how it works, yeah. And that's the entire gist of once you can understand what we just talked about, then you understand the gist of the professional client relationship. The client is the person that is usually client is usually the person that seeks the services of a professional. Client is the person that seeks the service of a professional. Now, who is a professional? A professional is a learned entity that is a member of a professional body required to carry out a professional service, be it so when I say professional now, I'm not just talking about a chartered accountant, I'm also talking about a lawyer, a medical doctor. Once you're providing a service or you're so we I don't think we have professionals when it comes to buying and selling. But yeah, the word professional is usually being the word professional is usually a gist around the word professional is usually a gist around who is usually a gist around people that offer services in its actual sense, yeah, and that's pretty much how professionalism and all of that works. So try as much as possible to be a good representative of whatever professional body you're part of, right? So moving on from there, we're considering the models of the professional and client relationship. All right, please, guys, I need you to use your charts. I need you to get ready to unmute when I ask questions. And well, obviously, I've introduced the professional and client relationship to you. So there are four essential models in this regard. We have agency relationship, we have contractual relationship, we have paternalism, and we have a fiduciary relationship. Okay, now these are the four main theories. Well, not even main theories, these are the models in professional client relationship. Now, the first one is agency relationship. In a situation like this, in an agency relationship, the client has the most authority. Okay, the client has the most authority. The client is responsible for decision making. Let me give you an example of an agency relationship. And a very, very good example of the agency relationship would be, um, say, for example, you have a company, you want to do, you need to make evaluation, for example, or you want to buy stocks, you want to go into shares and all of that. Excuse me. Can you hear me, guys? Please type in the chat. Let me know that you can hear me.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
All right, good. That's Ozana, right? What about you, Elizabeth and William? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, good. Now, the agency relationship is good. The agency relationship is such that you are an agent. So, a very good example is there anybody here working in banking? Ozana, where do you work? Where do you work, Ozana?
In church.
What?
In church.
In church.
Yes.
Let me think
RCC.
about. Oh, okay. You're an accountant, a provincial accountant. I know provinces.
Yes.
Okay, I know provinces have accountants. So
Yes.
yeah, that's a good one. So let me think about something that applies to you. So the agency relationship would be, say, for example, yeah, good. You invite a pastor, say you invite a pastor to your church for a program, right? Now the pastor is the professional. Do you get it? The pastor is the professional. However, you have other pastors in your church, yes or no?
Yes.
Who is in charge? Who is in charge of that program? It is you. It is your church, not the pastor. Do you get? You just contracted the service of the pastor to do something. Now, if the pastor tells you that, okay, I want to, and you give the pastor a scope, do you get my gist? You give a scope. In cases like this, the scope is clearly stated. Now, if you look at the second paragraph, the third paragraph rather, the last part of the third paragraph, I said, for this sort of relationship to exist, the client must have a reasonable amount of technical knowledge. So for you to have an agency relationship, you need to be a professional yourself. So for example, you have your what's it called? For you, okay, besides Hosanna, where do you work, Elizabeth? Elizabeth, where do you work?
Music instructor.
You said
Music
what?
instructor. Music
You're music.
instructor.
God bless you, music instructor. So, as a music instructor, I'm sure you are on the, you get into relationships like this a lot, where the client is in charge. Do you get it? The client is in charge. Your job is just to come in, instruct music. You've been given the scope of music, the scope of what to instruct. Yes or no? You have a
Yes.
scope already. Your job is just to come in, do the job, and leave. Now,
Yes.
get this. But the only difference is that in this case, you are giving the client feedback on what you've done. It is the client's decision to either use what you've done or not. Do you get it? The client makes the decision in this case. You're not in charge. Please note, this is not a relationship between company and auditor. Yes, you can get an accountant, a professional. You can get an accountant or a company that renders professional accounting services to come and do your job, but we are not talking about auditing right now. Are we clear on that, guys? Agency relationship is not auditing. It is pretty much all these things that we have discussed. And that takes us to the next relationship is a contractual relationship. A contractual relationship. Now, Elizabeth, as a music instructor, what aspect of music do you instruct? Elizabeth, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you. Elizabeth, what aspect
Yes.
of music do you instruct?
Therapy for autism children.
Therapy for autism children. Oh, wow. Wow. Elizabeth, are you in Nigeria?
Yes.
So Nigeria is now getting advanced like that. Now, well, guys, listen, anywhere you see Elizabeth, just be loud. All those people that used to do all those things, they used to have mad money. Anywhere you see her, just be loud. They get money. Elizabeth, am I right?
The glory of God, sir.
Okay, see, I heard the glory of God. See humility. Chai. All right. So contractual relationship here is such where the client and the professional, they are equals. Guys, please, this aspect is examinable. It is highly examinable. So you need to read it. Even if you don't understand, come back to me. I will still explain again. That's why I'm taking my time. That's why I'm taking my time. Contractual relationship, in this case, the client and the professional, they are on equal terms with respect to authority and responsibility for decision making. Let me give you an instance. I'll give you an instance. I have a company. I am an accountant, but I am into reporting. Now, you would agree with me that not all accountants have tax experience. They know tax, they have tax knowledge, but not all accountants have tax experience. Yes or no? Williams, you should agree with me on this. Yes or no? Williams, I
Yes,
need
sir.
your opinion on this. It came out last. Oh, this came out last diet. You see? Thank you. Now, not all accountants have tax knowledge. So, say for example, I'm a KPMG. Right? No, I don't want to use KPMG because KPMG has a tax division in the company. Let's say, for example, I am a Aderibibi & Co. My job is to come and audit your books, audit somebody's books, right? But then I am not. But in that case, yeah, I am not. What's it called? I'm not a novice, but I cannot categorically say that I can handle tax matters. Do you get me? I'm not a novice, but I cannot categorically say that I can handle tax matters. What do I do? What am I supposed to do in that situation? And somebody suggests to me, what am I supposed to do in a situation like this? Hi, how are you doing today? Welcome to class. You're very, very late, but welcome to class. Class starts by 8 a.m., not 8:30, not 8:45. All right. Can somebody tell me? I am an accountant, Aderibibi & Co, and the company that I'm auditing their books, they have some tax-related gist. I don't have tax experience. I have tax knowledge. Note, tax knowledge is not the same as tax experience. So tell me, what am I supposed to do? Where did you get water? Did you get water outside? You brought it from home. Okay.
You can contract
I
it
would
to
appreciate
the
that, please. Exactly. You contract it to a tax professional. That's how it works. Thank you so much. That's how it works. You contract it to a preferably code. You contract it to a tax professional. That's what you're expected to do. Now, in this case, note you are equal in terms of authority. You have authority because you got the professional, but guess what? The tax professional. Now, I need you to understand how this dynamic has shifted. First, now this is how the dynamic has shifted. Please hold on, guys. Smallface, how are you? How are you? Smallface, how are you? I've unmuted you. The PK has ended. I've unmuted you. All right. I'm in class. I have to mute now. All right, guys. I'm back. So yeah. I was trying to explain how the dynamic has shifted, and this is it. The dynamic shifted like this. Can somebody tell me how the dynamic has shifted? Let me see if you guys are able to observe a switch in dynamics. Can somebody tell me how the dynamic has shifted? If you don't know, say I don't know. I'll just say it. I'll say it straight up so that we don't take our time. Does anybody want to attempt how the dynamic has shifted? The dynamic shifted. You guys should have identified it that it shifted just now. Anybody? Anyone? Do you want to attempt? Okay, you don't know. All right, good. Let me say. You were brought into the gist as a professional. Now you are no longer the professional, you are now the client. Because why? You as Aderibibi & Co have employed the services of Elizabeth Ozana and Pat & Co, a tax company. Do you understand? Guys, do you understand? Now, in this case, you are both professional. Aderibibi is a professional. Elizabeth and Ozana, professionals. Do you get it? That way you have equal level of authority. Do you get? Look at that way you have equal level of authority. Do you get my point? Now, in this case, the tax partner, guys, are you following me? Please write in the comment. Let me know. Let me be sure that I'm not just talking to myself. Are you following? If you want me to recap what I'm saying, I can recap. Should I recap? If you want me to recap, right, please recap. If you want me to recap, please write please recap. Because I need you to get this. The difference, all the relationships, they are not so different. So you have to be very careful so that you don't mix it up. The relationships are not so different, but you need to be really careful so that you don't mix it up. Now, this is it. You were brought in as a professional, but the scope of work to be done is now out of what you can assure, right? So you have, because you are a reporting accountant, and you want to audit your client's FS, but now you require there's a spill out into tax. You have tax knowledge, but you don't have tax experience. So what do? You contract the services of an experienced tax body, tax company. Now you got a tax company being Elizabeth and Co. Elizabeth and Co. is a professional tax company. Elizabeth and Co. would now work on the parts that you have given her. They have worked on it and they have given it to you. Now, in this case, you are both learned. You are now you as a professional, you are now a client, bringing in Elizabeth as a professional. Now, whatever Elizabeth gives you, it is just to advise you. You still own, and your own job is to act on the advice that Elizabeth gave you. Get this. That's why I said you have equal power. Your job is, you have contracted it out. That is a contractual relationship. You contracted it out to Elizabeth and Co. Elizabeth has worked on what you gave her and she has sent it to you. Your job is to act on the advice given. Are we clear on that? So say, for example, if your company is in oil and gas. Now, for those of you that don't know about oil and gas, now in oil and gas, in oil and gas, before you undertake a new project, you need to get technical consultants on board. The technical consultant will review the viability of the project. They do things like feasibility study. They do forecast, they do profit forecast, they do possibility of loss forecast, they do worst case scenario, best case scenario. When they do all these things, they now advise you and you will now act on the advice given. That is a contractual relationship. Are we clear on that, guys? Are we clear on that? Now look at this. Okay, yeah, I even made I said, for example, a firm of accountants may be asked to provide advice to a company on the implementation of a new law or set of regulation. Now, let me give you an example of that. Let me use this one as an example. What's it called? What is the last tax act that came out? The last, what do we call this act? So there's this act for tax now. Oh, bollocks. Child, how did I forget the name now? There's a publication that comes out. I think this one came out. What's the name of the tax gist that came out that told us that VAT is no longer 5%, it is now 7.5. Can somebody remind me the name? There is a name for it. It just skipped me right now. Come on, guys. Hold on. Let me check it online. Okay, so let's move on from that. So say for example, yeah, if they made a new change in contractual law, say they made a new change in, okay, a very good example is when VAT was changed from 5% to 7.5%, right? And you contracted a team of accountants to come and to do a report for you on how to implement it and the changes it will bring up and how it affects your company. The best what the tax board, the accountant, the group of accountants will do is they work on it, they give you a report, they give you advice, technical advice on it, and what do? You act on the advice given. It's as simple as that. And that is contractual, that's contractual relationship. Now, paternalism. Paternalism. Now, the best way from paternalism, what's the root word in paternalism? And what's like the key word in this case, in this gist of paternalism? What's the key word? Guys, put it in the comments. What's the key word in paternalism? I want to see your comments now. When you hear the word paternalism, what's the key word in there? Come on, guys. Pattern? No, Hosanna, it's not pattern. It's not pattern. It's not pattern. No, it is not partner either. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. Paternalism it pretty much refers to the thank you so much. Thank you. It pretty much refers to the relationship between exactly, William. First, to the relationship between parent and offspring. It refers to the relationship between what? Parent and offspring. Now, a very, very good example of this type of relationship is the relationship between a patient and a doctor. Relationship between a patient and a doctor. Now, say for example, you have give me one sickness that somebody can have. One sickness. Give me one sickness. Okay, let's say for example, not any of you, but say a person has cancer. Now, yes, the cancer patient is the client, and the professional is the medical doctor. You get, in fact, as the client, you know that the two previous what's it called that we've talked about, the two previous relationships that we've talked about, the client has knowledge, but now the client has no knowledge. The professional is acting as the parent to the client. And a good example is the person that has cancer. The doctor is the professional. You know nothing about cancer. It is the doctor that will treat you. It is the doctor that will give you professional advice, and the doctor makes decision. Do you get? The doctor makes decision. Yes, you might have final decision, but then the doctor. So think about it. It's just like your parents. For those of you that have kids, it's just like between you and the kids. The kids are the clients. You are the professional. Excuse me. Why? Because it is expected that you have way more experience than the client, which is the children. Now, in this case, the client is the patient, and the professional is the medical doctor. It is the doctor that would say, okay, for this cancer that you have, it's probably surgery. We need to take the cancer out, or we do chemotherapy. Do you get? Or we just forget, we give you mercy death. Do you understand? And the professional is required to make recommendations. Do we get it? Do we get it now? That's the difference. That's the thing with paternalism. It is just like relationship between parents and kids. You, as the professional, you have knowledge. You have way. So, for example, let's see. Another good example is um, no, I don't want to use. Okay, so say for example, you know all these people, all these business owners that they are not learned at all, but then they need. You know that there are a lot of SMEs. For example, all these logistic companies that are now registered. Now, based on since Tinubu came into power, we all know that his focus is one of his main focus is tax. Good. Now, they are already implementing ways to make sure that, because you know one of the things he said is they want to increase the tax bracket. Increasing the tax bracket means that people that don't used to pay tax before would now have to start paying tax now. So all these SMEs that have been getting by without paying tax because they don't even understand that this is the percentage of tax I'm supposed to pay and all of that. In this case, they need the services of a professional accountant. Now, a professional accountant comes on board, not as a staff, but then as a consulting company. And you come in there. That type of relationship is paternalism because the client has little or no knowledge. Are we clear on that? The client has little or no knowledge. You are the one that will go to their bank statements and start to prepare the FS from scratch. After preparing FS from scratch, you help them determine their profit before interest and taxes. After that, you now determine the profit after interest and tax. You now calculate you now start another computation, tax computation, to know the expenses that are allowable and disallowable, to know what percentage of the profit, to now identify the taxable profit, then identify the company income tax in the first place. And it is that company income tax that you now advise that client, so I know you don't know anything, I know that your head is dry, like you be at the king of Olodo, but then get this. This is the gist. This is the amount you're supposed to pay the government. This is the amount you're supposed to pay the government, and you can hold on. All right, so you advise that this is the amount you're supposed to pay the government so that you don't have problems at the end of the day. That is paternalism. Guys, are we clear on that? Are we clear on paternalism? Are we clear on paternalism? All right. Good. Last but not the least is the fiduciary relationship. Now, in a fiduciary relationship between a professional and a client, the professional, as a fiduciary, has an obligation to act in the best interest of the client. A very good example of this are all these people that do stocks. Yeah, all these people that do stocks, that are into stock, foreign exchange, you've given them the money and you have told them to act, you have empowered them to act in your best interest. Besides that, people that do all these bankruptcy, executorship, all these trustees. Do we get the gist? Now, in this case, as the professional has superior technical knowledge and greater expertise. But unlike in paternalism, the client retains significant authority. Now, let me explain to you. How many of you have stocks? Or how many of you deal in stocks? Elizabeth, do you deal in stocks?
No.
Huh? You don't?
No.
Okay, what about you? What about you, MM? MM, do you deal in stocks? And Ozana?
No, sir.
None of you deal in stocks. So what do you put your money in? Bet Ninja? All right. So moving on. If you do stocks, for example, I'll use that as an example because that's like a perfect example. If you do stock, you've told your broker that guy, I have a 1 million naira sitting somewhere and I want to use it to buy shares. If we look for a really let me look for performing stocks that I can invest in, right? Now get this. You have given the money and you've handed the money over to the broker because the money is no longer with you, the money is with the broker. Now get this. The broker's job is to find you a really profitable stock that you can put your money into. However, look at this. He said, however, unlike the client retains significant authority and responsibility for making decisions. Now get this. Yes, you have given the broker your 1 million that I want to invest this money. Will the broker, guys, I need you to respond to this. Will the broker now take your money and put it in a stock without telling you?
No.
The broker can't. The broker has to send you an email, send you official communication saying that I have seen this. As of last year, this made this, and we project that it will make this between now and the next 6 months. Is this okay? I need your concurrence. Do you get it? That's the gist in fiduciary relationship. You get it? Guys, I need you to read through this fiduciary relationship. Read through it. I'll give you 20 seconds to read through fiduciary relationship. Now, okay, I hope you're done. Now, let me give you another example. There are so many examples to fiduciary relationships, but let me give you another example. Another example is a lawyer to a client. I have a court case. I get your services as my lawyer, right? You retain all the power to negotiate on my behalf. You can talk to the judge, my lord, may I, my lord, this, that. But at the end of the day, you still need to confer with me to say that, okay, should we settle or do you still want this case to go to trial? Do you get it? Even sometimes the relationship between the doctor to patient, it is also fiduciary sometimes. It's not even most times it's fiduciary because guess what? I want to open your belly. They will ask you to consent. Yeah, as the client, as the patient, you still have the final decision. Because if I want to do surgery, has anybody done surgery before here? Is there anybody here that has had surgery before? William, have you ever had surgery before? What about you, Have you ever had surgery before? Okay, William has never had surgery. Have you ever had surgery? Is not here. Ozana, have you ever had surgery?
No, sir.
What about you, Elizabeth? Surgery? Elisa? Now, when you want to have surgery, yeah, they give you a form to fill. You fill that form to consent. You get it? You need to give consent. Nobody is going to work on you. Nobody is going to open your belly. Nobody is going to do anything without formal consent. Do we get it? So that's that about fiduciary relationship. Don't forget that we are still talking about ethics and social responsibility. And that takes us to ethics, governance, and social responsibility. So far, so good, guys. Any question? Any question, guys? So far, so good. Any question? Any question, people? I need to see no question or yes, there's question in the comments. No, sir. Okay, Uzana. I need other people. Elizabeth, any question? Emem, any question? William, any question? No question. Good. What about you, Emem? That's 50% of the class. Emem and Elizabeth. Guys, please respond. All right, I'm waiting, guys. I'm waiting. Any question?
Question.
What did you say, Elizabeth?
No question.
All right, good. So I don't think MM is in class. So tell me, Ozana, what can you see on your screen right now? What are you seeing on your screen?
I can see ethics, governance, and social responsibility.
And social responsibility, good. And that's the next thing we're moving to. Ethics, governance, and social responsibility. Now, you all agree with me that no business acts on its own. No business is flying in the sky. Every business, every company operates within a society, right? And your responsibility is not just to your employees. Excuse me. Your responsibility is not just to your employees. You are responsible for a lot of other things because you have to interact with the community, you interact with suppliers, your customers, the general public, even the government. Your responsibilities are the responsibility of a business is it will clearly be discussed in corporate governance. But then, for the sake of this class, we need to just talk about the link between everything. Now, there are theories that hold this what's it called, entire conversation together. And the first theory is the shareholder theory. Now, let me ask you, think about it. What do you think shareholder theory means? Who is the focus? When we say shareholder theory, what do you think is the focus of shareholder theory? Guys, I need you to talk here. I think I'm screaming. So tell me, guys, what's the focus of shareholder theory? The satisfaction of shareholders. Yeah, that's a good one. And the focus of shareholder theory is shareholders. The primary focus is shareholders. Now, what do shareholders want? Shareholders want their wealth to be maximized. All right. So the shareholder theory is the view of the shareholder theory is that what the aim of the company is to maximize the value of shareholders, to maximize their profits. Now, and we talked about this when we're having a gist in teleological, that's consequential theory of ethics, where the result is the focus. And the focus here is what? Maximizing shareholder wealth. And in cases like this, if the investors in companies are the shareholders are seen as the investors in the company. And what they want is profit. Do you get it? What they want is profit. However, shareholders are divided into two. They are long-term and they are short-term shareholders. Now get this. I need you to understand this, guys. Long-term shareholders. Okay, let me ask. I need you to unmute now. Elizabeth and Ozana, please unmute. Am I the only one hearing that buzzing sound? Hosanna, fix your background though.
No, it's not noisy.
Are you using earpiece, Hosanna?
Yes, sir.
Oh, touch that earpiece again. Just roll it a bit. Roll it a bit. All right, good. It's okay now. I know it's not okay. Wait, hold on. Is that Hosanna, Seth? Yeah, it's Hosanna now. Okay, let me put Elizabeth on the spot. Elizabeth,
I can hear you, sir.
would you tell me which one would you prefer? Would you prefer to be a long-term shareholder or a short-term shareholder?
Short term,
Why short-term?
so that I'll be able to invest more.
Oh, okay. So your reason for being a short-term shareholder is to invest, cash out, invest again. Abi?
Yes.
Oh,
In case that one is not profitable, I can as well.
you can as well run away.
Yes.
Now, in this case, since you're a short-term shareholder, what would you prefer? Would you prefer the company declares dividend on time, or they should reinvest the dividend?
Still talking to me?
Yes. Let me repeat the question. Would you prefer that the company that you invested in, should they declare dividend every year, or they should reinvest the dividend?
They should declare it.
Exactly. Now, that's what you want because you're a short-term shareholder. For people that are long-term shareholders, their focus will be that what? Declare only small dividend, but reinvest the rest. Why? Because it will increase share value on the long run because they are long-term shareholders. Do you get it? Now, that's the entire gist of the shareholder theory. And let's move to the stakeholder theory. Now, we used to say that all shareholders are stakeholders, but not all stakeholders are shareholders. I'll repeat it again. All shareholders are what? Stakeholders, but not all stakeholders are shareholders. For the last time, all shareholders are stakeholders, but not all stakeholders are shareholders. Now tell me, I need you guys to give me an example. List all the stakeholders that comes to your mind. Guys, you need to type this one. List stakeholders that come into your mind for any company. Just pick a company and write the number of stakeholders out for me. You need to be able to identify stakeholders of a company. All right, your time starts now. You have 30 seconds. Company and the stakeholders, list them for me. Now, stakeholder theory is a different gist entirely. The goal is that the directors of a company, they have a duty to all the major stakeholders of the company, not just the employees, not just the customer, not just the shareholders, but also the community and the society. And that's where ethics comes in. That's where you hear us say things like CSR, corporate social responsibility. Now, I'm not the one that will take that part. It's my other colleague will take that part of the syllabus with you. But then this is pretty much what stakeholder theory is about. As a company, you have a standing obligation or duty to consider the opinion of the stakeholders, not just shareholders this time, stakeholders as well. Now, let's say, for example, as a shareholder, it will pay you if your company is running on, is getting goods on credit, but then you have money, you're able to declare good profits and all of that. It will pay you as a shareholder. But then as a stakeholder, because one of the stakeholders is a supplier, As a supplier, it will not pay you if a company is owing you. Why? Because of the time value of money. Because the company that is owing you 10 million naira today, what you can use that 10 million naira to buy today, you can't use that 10 million naira to buy the same thing in the next 6 months. Do you understand? Time value of money comes to play in this context. So, stakeholder theory is key because as a director in a company or as a finance manager in a company, it is expected that your duty, your obligation is not just to the shareholders, but also to all stakeholders. That's what the stakeholder theory is about. Your obligation is not just to shareholders, it's also to all the stakeholders. And stakeholders also include employees. If you are working with shareholder theory, it will be okay for you to underpay staff, just so that your profit line will be high. But then with stakeholder theory, the employees are also stakeholders, because without employee, your company cannot function. Do you understand? Since employees are also stakeholders, that automatically means that you have to consider them. Consider them how? By paying them good reward for their services. Do you understand? That's stakeholder theory. And that takes us to the social contract theory. Now, the social contract theory is such that it's pretty much about the premise. Social contract theory is pretty much about the premise that the society, that the company is not a standalone entity. It is part of a society. Are we clear on that? You are, as a company, you are part of a society. So there is a social contract between you. That's why you are obligated. Hello. That's why you are obligated to make sure that your society is at peace. You have a good relationship. You have a good standing with your society. Okay, for example, on more than one occasion, you have situations where, on more than one occasion, please let me explain to you. Yeah. On more than one occasion, yeah, you have situations where you are not supposed, companies would decide to make roads to make sure that the road that leads to the company and even the community where they are, they make sure that it is tarred, it is okay, the place is accessible, and all of that. Do you get that? Do you get that, guys? So that's what the social contract theory means. That companies should not ignore their responsibility to the society. Besides making profit, you also need to look forward to ways to make sure that the well-being of the society is up to date. We have companies that set up hospitals, companies that make donations to hospitals in the community that they're in. Now, all these things are community corporate social responsibility projects. However, it is part of the social contract theory. Good. So that takes us to Johnson and Scholes, the possible ethical stance for a business entity. Now, possible ethical stance for a business society. Please note that no company, as much as we say that companies should make sure that they take all four stances, no company, or let me not say no company, it is rare for you to get a company that would be able to take all four stances at every time, because these stances they negate each other most times. Now, say for example, let's start with maximizing short-term shareholder interest. Now, guys, please put this thing in your mind. The ethical stance for business entity. The first stance is maximizing short-term shareholder interest. That simply means that in cases like this, yeah, most times it is not ethical when your focus is the short term, when your focus is the interest of the short-term shareholders, because you want to satisfy short-term shareholders. That way, your focus will be to make profit on time. Because if you think about it, when you want to embark on projects, most projects last, even there are projects that would last longer than 2 years, right? But then that would not satisfy a short-term That would not satisfy a short-term shareholder. Why? Because the short-term shareholder wants their profit, they want dividend declared year in, year out. When you're supposed to use these monies that you're declaring, plow it back into the business, use it to fund projects and make good money at the long run. Note, short-term shareholders do not believe in the long run. They believe in the short run. That's the difference between a wife and a hookup babe. Hookup babe wants to do now and collect money, but the wife would, you know, let me ask, Elizabeth, are you married? Are you married, Elizabeth?
Yes, married with grown-ups.
Good. Married with Washere. Married with grown-ups. Now, let me ask you a question, Elizabeth. Your husband asked you, Elizabeth, let's go out. Your husband asked you this question. Let's go out. Let's go to a restaurant. Let's just go out. Go and eat. Let's go and eat Chinese. Or let's go and eat, what's it called? Or let's go and have English breakfast. Or let's go and lodge in a hotel and just have a getaway. Or let me give you that money. You should use it to cook. What would be your decision?
To go out there and have fun.
Oh, you want to go out? Oh, share, hook up, babe. All right, don't mind me. But then you'd agree with me that most times, a lot. It's just now. Most times, a lot of people would just rather. Okay, wait till one go chop. I beg, give me the money, maybe use and cook for house. Do you get? It's because you're a baller, Elizabeth. That's why you want to do. Let's go out there and have fun. Okay. But do you get my point? Do you get my point? Yeah. Okay, let me ask. Ozana, you're married. You're married as well, yeah. Oh, Mina, welcome to class. So you eventually joined us. Welcome, Ozana. Would you rather go out or have dinner at home with your family?
Normally, I would have loved to go out, but considering that motherhood way of doing things, that we also consider bringing it home so that the entire family can benefit from it.
Exactly. Guys, hold on, please. I need to mute myself for a bit. All right, yeah, I'm back. So do you understand? Do you get the difference in short-term shareholder interest and long-term shareholder interest? The goal is long-term. Instead of you to say, for example, put your money in. So if you're a long-term person, this also comes down to the type of person you are, right? If you're a long-term person, you will not advise your partner to, okay, say your partner gets, let's say 60 million, a 60 million naira bonus at work. This is the question, guys. Let me ask you, William, you get a 60 million naira bonus from work. What would you do? Would you rather buy a Benz or build a house or buy a house, whether on mortgage or anything? 60 million naira bonus at work. Tell me something, William. William and Mina, would you rather buy a Benz or you buy a house?
For me, I'll buy a house.
Why would you buy a house?
Value for the money.
Value for money, obviously. You will buy a house because it is more long term, right? But if you buy a Benz, like, come on, why you to buy a Benz, man? Yes, you're a baller. It makes you a baller on the streets, but then, you know these stupid boys in Lagos now, these downfall guys, they will scratch your car and things like that, but nobody can come and scratch your house. You get it? But then the actual gist is the fact that one is for the long run, one settles your wish as a long-term shareholder, while the other is for a short-term shareholder. So besides that, the third ethical stance is multiple stakeholder. Now, this is one that recognizes the obligation to different stakeholder groups. Now, if you look at what we're talking about very well, you realize that it is also the same as what we discussed earlier, the shareholder interest, the shareholder theory, stakeholder theory, and all of that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This shareholder theory, stakeholder theory, and the social contract theory. Are we clear on that? So, and the fight, no, not fiduciary. All right, so we're back here. All right. So multiple stakeholder obligations. Obviously, it is pretty much about recognizing your obligation to different stakeholder groups, and we already identified stakeholders. Now, this is it. We have internal stakeholders and we have external stakeholders. Guys, this is your assignment. This is your assignment, everybody. And you submit by Wednesday. You can go online. You can do whatever you want. You can't find this in your ICANN pack. Identify three companies. List their stakeholders. When you list their stakeholders, you tell me the stakeholders that are internal and stakeholders that are external. Identify three companies, list their stakeholders, and split the stakeholders into two: internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. Good. Now, last but not the least, we go with, guys, do you get that? Do you get that, guys? I'm not going to put it on WhatsApp. So, William, can you help me type that on WhatsApp, on the WhatsApp group, please? The assignment: list three companies, identify the stakeholders, and split the stakeholders into internal and external. All right, good. So that takes us to shaper of society. Now, the last ethical stance is companies being shapers of the society. Now, I put that here because it relates to the social contract, right? It relates to the social contract. And I said here that shaping society means changing conditions in the society and altering the way the society perceives itself. Do you remember when we were talking about ethical decisions and we looked at Tucker? One of the questions in the Tucker example is that, is it environmentally sound? Is it environmentally sound? Now, if your company is green focused, when I say green focused, I mean you are trying as much as possible to reduce carbon emissions to the barest minimum. It means you're green focused. That way, you're also a shaper of society. Besides that, media companies and all of that, a very, very important shaper of the society is Facebook, Instagram, and the likes. Yeah. For those of us in the finance world, key shapers of the society, the big four. When the big four when a new standard comes in and the big four interprets, everybody listen. Do you get it? Technology as well is an important shaper of the society. It affects how we live. It affects things like, it affects how we live, how we perceive things. Without technology, we will not even be okay with people being gay and all of that. You probably might not even know that people are gay, or you will not even be able to openly admit that, okay, yeah, somebody is gay or something. Besides that, as a shaper of society, companies are expected to be instrumental in shaping society, because what? They make decisions as to the future of technology, and that makes them instrumental in shaping the society. Now, as a company, you're supposed to approach this ethically. You're supposed to approach this word ethically. And that's the entire gist about being a shaper of the society, knowing that whatever you do in the society has lasting impact in the society. Are we clear on that? Good. So the last subtopic here is the ethical stance, the personal stance, or thank you so much. Thank you so much, William. I can see it on the group now. All right, hold on, guys. Hold on. Just give me a minute. One minute. All right, guys, I'm back. So, where did we stop? Okay, ethical stance, personal and corporate. Now, first of all, I need you to know this. I'm starting from the last sentence that I made on ethical stance. Is that a company's ethical stance is based off the ethical stance of the individuals. And let me give you an instance. You agree with me that except in rare cases, a good boy will grow up into a good man. A good man is expected to marry a good woman. And both of them are expected to have good kids. And that is how an ethical family starts. Now, this dynamic spills over into the workplace. A good employee, an employee that has good ethical stance, it is expected that the person is also working in a company that has other employees that have good ethical stance. And all of them having good ethical stance would make the company have a good ethical stance. That's the concept of personal and corporate ethical stance. Now, your ethical stance is the position you take with respect to a particular issue. Now, for example, let me ask you, what is your stance on child abuse? If it is okay, type okay in the comments. If it is not okay, type not okay. Let's go. Let's do that quickly. Not okay, good. Hosanna said not okay. Now, that is okay. That is good that we all agree on that. But now let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. We all know about the whole issue with Russia, Ukraine, and the likes, yeah? If your major supplier is in Russia, your major supplier or your major customer, okay, let's say customer, your major customer is a Russian company. And you know about this entire Russia-Ukraine palaver. This is the question. Will you continue to sell to the Russian company? Okay, you know what? Let me even make it crazier for you. Your customer is a Russian company, your major customer, responsible for 80% of your goods. This person buys 80% of your stock, right? And this company is in Russia, is a Russian company. But then you got this breaking news that this company is into human trafficking rather, I say woman. This company is into human trafficking. And this is the question. First, considering the fact that Russia, Ukraine is at war, and then finding out that your major customer is into human trafficking. This is the question, guys. Would you still keep selling to this customer or not? Type in the comments, yes, I will keep selling. No, I will stop selling. Type in the comments. All right, guys. So, can you hear me now? Please confirm that you can hear me now.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, I'm going to share this material. This particular one, I will share it with you right now on the group. No, I don't want to share it on the group. Let me share it here. It is expected that for those of you here have hold on, file, ethics now. All right, please confirm when you can see the material. Can you see the material now, guys? The videos will be shared. The video will be shared by the admin, the class admin. All right. Hello, sir. All right. So all right. So ethical stance, and I said that as a company, you are not supposed to deal with companies that are into terrorism, acts of war. No, they would advise you. Yeah, you're not supposed to deal with companies that are into terrorism, acts of war, and human trafficking, things like that. You're not supposed to deal with them because as an accountant, first off, you are obligated. As an accountant, you are obligated. So the material I shared with you on this in this class is this one that we're talking about right now. All right. So let's go. The positions on social responsibility. Now, this is by Gray, Owens, and Adams. This 7 classification by Gray, Owen, and Adams. Now, we're considering the positions of a company on social responsibility. Okay? First off, the first group is the pristine capitalists. The first group is the pristine capitalists. Now, who are the pristine capitalists? These people are people in accounting and finance. Now, you would agree with me that everybody used to believe that accountants are stingy, yes or no? You know, even as a guy, you go toast babe finish, babe will ask you, say, what do you do for a living? And once you tell the babe that I am an accountant, all these stingy people, right? That's the entire rhetoric. That's the spectrum that we are in. They regard us as stingy people. And yes, call us stingy. Don't worry, it's fine. I'm the one that is working for my money. That's why we fall in the pristine capitalist. That's why we fall in the pristine capitalist group. Call me stingy. Now, Mumu, they give money. We believe that in the world of business, the responsibility of a company is to make money for its shareholders and maximize their wealth. You get it? We are capitalists. We believe in making more money. Now, for pristine capitalists, we don't believe in society, all the society bullshit, corporate strategic, what do we call? I've messed this thing up. The CSR. We don't believe in CSR. We don't believe in all those things. Our focus as pristine capitalists is maximizing shareholder wealth, and that's all. However, when you move to the second group, those are the expedients. Now, the expedients believe that, yes, we should make profit, we should maximize shareholder wealth. However, we need to consider other stakeholders to make us stronger. Now, what are we saying? Yes, we want to make profit, but make sure you pay people that you are owing. Make sure you pay because think about it. If I pay the people that I am owing, it means that they will be able to borrow me money later. If you take loan from the bank, pay your loan in the bank. If you buy goods on credit from your suppliers, pay them when it's due. If you have taxes at the end of the year, you make sure you pay your taxes. That way you'll be in good standing with the government. Do you understand? Now, guys, let me ask you, which line of thought is better, pristine capitalist or expedience? Tell me something. Which one is better, pristine capitalist or expedience? Type in the comments, guys. Pristine capitalists are saying make money and money alone. Focus on shareholder and shareholder wealth. Expedience is saying, yes, we should do this, but then also be in good standing with your stakeholders. Pay taxes, pay loans, pay suppliers, and things like that. So tell me guys, which line of thought is better? Pristine capitalist or expedience? Expedient. Thank you, Hosanna. Yeah, others. What about the others? Expedient. Thank you. I think that's good enough for me. So move on to number 3. Number 3 is the proponents of the social contract. Don't forget that I told you about social contract already, and I told you the similarity between social contract and the shaper of the society. Now, good. Now for proponents of social contract, they believe that there is a contract between the company and the society. That way, your company is not just focused on profit. Your company must also act on the standards that society find acceptable. If you don't, the society will not allow you to continue. For example, if you are in the oil and gas sector and you have your oil field in the east, maybe in Imo State or in Abia State or anything, all those states that have oil, or even in Port Harcourt, yeah, there are principles that you're supposed to adhere to. You need to make some things available. Now, if you are unable to do these things, the society will not let you continue. And that's the honest truth. Do we get it? That's what we mean by proponents of the social contract. This group, the ethical stances, you make sure that you uphold the social contract. Now, 4, the social ecologists. Individuals in this position, their focus is the environment. Their focus is the environment because they know that companies are responsible for all these environmental problems. Even the whole, what's it called? This whole global warming. Tell me, who's responsible for global warming? It's the companies. Companies that operate heavy machinery, vehicles, and all of that. They are responsible for global warming. So social ecologists believe that we should hold them responsible. We should hold them responsible. That's why you see that people are now going for greener options. Do you get? They now go for greener options. Guys, I shared the material with you. Read through 5, 6, and 7. Read through 5, 6, and 7. Give me a minute. I'll unmute in the next few seconds. Read through 5, 6, and 7. 5 is what's it called? Socialist. 6 is radical feminist. And number 7 is deep ecologists. I'll be with you in a minute. I don't know why my phone keeps muting and unmuting, but then back to, at least I remember that we're still on socialists, yeah? And they criticize for all forms of domination in government, states. They don't like authority. And that's why I said that it's mostly all these Gen Z people that are in the socialists. They believe that there should be a readjustment. Their focus is that wealth should be redistributed. Everybody should have money. Nobody should be poor. And that's not realistic, really, in its actual sense. We would always have the haves and the have-nots. That's how the concept of the world has always been from the beginning of time. Now, that's that for socialists. But then radical feminists. Now, a lot of people think that when people see these proponents as these proponents of the school of thought being radical feminists, they think it means that ladies should be in charge of things, but that's not what it means with respect to CSMA. In CSMA, radical feminists, as the positions on social responsibility, is simply that people in the society believe that we have the view of the world right now is masculine, it is aggressive, that we should try more feminine views like care, compassion, cooperation, teamwork, things like that. That's what the world needs right now. That is their ethical stance. That's the ethical stance that they believe that the view of the world right now is masculine. It is about being the rich being richer, poor getting poorer. You know that part of the Bible that says that from the time of John the Baptist, the kingdom of heaven suffer violence, and the violent take it by force. And that's what they believe, that's what is causing more harm than good in the world today, that we need to embark on more feminine views, such as care, compassion, cooperation, teamwork, and the likes. Last but not the least is the deep ecologists, the deep green. Now, these are people that believe they are the extreme. These deep ecologists are the extremes of the social ecologists. Do we get it, guys? The deep ecologists are the extreme part of social ecologists. They believe that no one person, these people that used to say that, no, I'm a vegetarian. Exactly. They believe that no one person's life is more important than any other form of life on the planet. That if you cut down a tree, it means you have cut down. It's also the same as cutting down a human life. Do you get? And that's their point of view. Yes, we don't subscribe to it, but then that's their point of view, and we need to identify their point of view. That they said that when you want to make ethical decisions, consider all forms of life. Don't just consider yourself as a human being alone. So what we just talked about, everything we just talked about, now get this. This is the burning part of ethics. Now, everything we just talked about is the 7 positions of social responsibility, and it was propounded by Gray, Owen, and Adams. Now, we will not tell you, I will not ask you that when was it propounded and all of that, but they will definitely ask you for these levels of classification of social responsibility. And it includes pristine capitalists, expedients. This thing keeps reducing. It includes pristine capitalists, the expedients, the proponents of the social contract, the social ecologists. Oh no, sorry. Hold on. I think it's my hand, Seth. The proponents of the social contract, the social ecologists, the socialists, the radical feminists, and the deep green, the deep ecologists. Right? So that takes us to the last but not the least, the last gist for today. You know that I think 2 classes ago we talked about the relationship between ethics and the law, where we review things that are legal but unethical, illegal but ethical, ethical but illegal, and ethical and legal. Right? If you remember, we talked about that. So now we're talking about the relationship between culture and ethics. Now, there is no culture without ethics, because ethics eventually become culture. You would agree with me that respect is an ethical behavior, right? As a Yoruba person, we believe that when you want to greet your elders, if you cannot at least kneel down both knees, you need to go down a little bit, right? Now, that is culture, but then it has become, but that is a form of respect. So that culture, in actual sense, is ethics. Do we get that? And we know that culture is shared beliefs, attitudes, norms, values, behaviors that are found among speakers of one language. All right. And then you remember that I told you about ethics, that ethics in Nigeria is not ethics in the United States. In the United States, you hear kids tell their parents that, fuck you, dad. Like, no, I'm not doing the dishes, dad. But you cannot try that in Nigeria here. Tell your mother that you are not doing the dishes. You know what? Elizabeth, are you here? Elizabeth, are you with me? Elizabeth or Hosanna, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
All right, good. Hosanna is here. Hosanna, you said you've got kids, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, can you tell your child to wash plates and they burn your child well to say, no, mom, I'm not I'm not doing the dishes?
They don't even burn the child well.
Exactly. Do you get the point? It is okay to say that in the United States, but it's not okay. The worst thing that will happen in the United States is you're grounded. And that's all. They ground their kids. But in Nigeria, we don't ground kids. We put the kids in the ground. Do you get now? It is okay for that to happen in the States, but it is not here. That's why you remember that I told you first class that what is ethical in a place might not be ethical in another. I made examples of the killing of twins by that was abolished by Mary Slessor. It was okay for it to happen in Nigeria back then, but then this lady came all the way down here and she changed it, and it became unethical. So ethics change over time, but then ethics is also particular to a geographical region. However, there are universal codes of ethics that we live by, things like honesty, objectivity, and it's pretty much found in our code of ethics as accountants: integrity, objectivity, professional competence, professional due care, confidentiality. All right. So that's culture and ethics. But then when we consider culture, ethics, and CSR, please don't forget that when I say CSR, I mean corporate social responsibility. All right, now, CSR, the focus of CSR is the interest and welfare of first group of people: the employees, the customers, the community that the company operates in, and the general public. So, CSR is concerned with, if you are an employee of MTN, CSR is concerned with you as their employee, me as their customer. If the company is located in Lagos, the Lagos community, and the general public as a whole. Are we clear? That's CSR. Now, and it takes us to the cultural web. Now, the cultural web is the last thing we're going to talk about today. Is that? Let me see. Hold on. Yes, the cultural web is the last thing we're going to talk about today. And we have 20 more minutes. Yes, we did good. We did good today. Now, every organization, now guys, I need you to unmute this time. First off, let's do a roll call. William, are you here?
I'm with you, sir.
All right, good. Minor, are you here? Okay, it's Minor, sorry. Let me just call you Usman. Usman, are you here? Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great. Sorry I murdered your name. Ozana, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Elizabeth, what about you? Are you here?
I'm here, sir.
All right, awesome. We want to talk about cultural web. And cultural web is pretty much about the paradigm of an organization, how the organization works, really. In actual sense, it's about how the organization works. Now, there are some elements of the cultural web that we're about to discuss. Yeah. Now, you understand that there's something that we call workplace culture. Yes or no? Guys, please confirm. Yes or no? There's something called workplace culture. Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. Now, so the interrelated elements in cultural webs include: 1, routines and ritual. Routines and ritual would not be stated in your everything will not be stated in your employee handbook or in the company's code of ethics. But you just find out that you guys do these things. For example, let me use my company as an example. Yeah. In my company, once it is 12:30, no matter what you are doing, your mind just starts going towards lunch because you know that on the 5th floor, lunch is there waiting for you. That's a routine, it's a ritual. And the thing with lunch is, so our policy at lunch is when you're going for lunch, you don't go with your phone because at that time, you are expected to stay off work completely for 1 hour daily between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. You have 1 hour to be off work, no matter what it is. Be off work, leave your phone upstairs, leave your laptop upstairs, go to the 5th floor, eat. While you are eating, in the eating area, we have a smart TV that has Netflix on it, it has YouTube, depending on what people want to watch at the time. Another ritual we have in my company is that every last Thursday of the month, we do throwback, it is called Throwback Thursday and Thank God It's Thursday. Throwback Thursday is when you're coming to the office, you wear something old. It doesn't mean that everything you wear is old, but then you wear something old, something that refers to previous culture, pop culture, and all of that. You get to wear whatever you want. You can dress down. You can wear your dashiki. You can even wear what they used to marry you, your wedding gown. That time, since the day you wore your wedding gown, you've not worn it again. You can wear it that day. You wear it to work, and you come to work, and then there's Thank God It's Thursday. Thank God It's Thursday. Pizza goes round, suya goes round, shawarma goes round, everybody. That's the one day of the month where you can eat on your seat. Because normally where you sit, you don't eat at your office space. You don't. You can't try it on a good day. It's like it's something, it is even in your employee handbook. It's a sackable offense without notice. You don't eat on your office space except on Thursdays where you can sit down while you're working. You can bite on your shawarma. You can use your toothpick to pick suya. You have smoothies all around in the office. This is, I know that it's making some of you hungry, but calm down, be coming down. Now, these are routines and rituals that we do in our office. So now I'd ask you, tell me some routines and rituals that you do in your office. There are some offices that they do morning devotion every day. You get it's your routine and ritual. So tell me, and it is not part of your employee handbook. They did not put it anywhere in the company. That's just what you guys have started doing. It has become your culture. So tell me something that is a routine in your company. Elizabeth. Elizabeth, are you there? When people don't want to talk, that's when we say, are you there? Because Elizabeth confirmed that she was here a few minutes ago. Go fear these people. What about you, Mina, Usman? Tell me one routine or ritual that you guys do in your company, but it's not in your employee handbook. It's not official. It's just something everybody does. I'm listening, Mina. Greeting one another every morning. That's a good one. You greet one another every morning. You go around, you greet. These are, okay, somebody wants to say something. Elizabeth?
Okay, sir, devotion.
You do devotion. Yeah, you even sound like all those people that used to do devotion every morning.
I'm a priest wife anyway.
You're a priest wife. You see?
Yeah.
Oh, I am a spiritual. You see, as I caught it immediately.
Yes.
You're a priest. Wait, Elizabeth, you're the one that works in RCCG, yeah?
No.
Okay, that's Hosanna.
Yeah.
Hosanna, you work in RCCG, innit?
Yes, sir.
So I'm so sure that you guys do devotion every morning.
That is mandatory for every staff.
It is mandatory. Do you get it? It will not be on your employee handbook, right? But then it's a routine. You get it's a routine. Now after that, besides that, apart from that, that's the first element in the cultural web. The next one is stories and myths. Stories and myths is it's pretty much just stories in the office space. about how one person has gone to Abuja before, and it is what the person did that saved the company. You get it? Or even the owner of the company. The owner of the company can come and tell you that, you see, I started this business with just 2 shirts and 1 trouser. You know all those motivational speaker stuff. It is pretty much just giving an insight into the history of the organization. That way, it helps you understand how the company got to where it is. Do we get it? That's stories and myths. Besides that, symbols. Now, symbols, for example, you know that if you think about it, a particular brand of industry that is key on symbols is the banking industry. Think about it. All first banks built the same. All GTB branch that you go to built the same. If the bank is looking like, apart from symbols, even their logo, once you see elephant, once you see the head of elephant, which bank is that, everybody? Once you see the head of elephant, what bank is that? Obviously, First Bank. Do you get it? Do you get it now? Like, symbols there are companies that are big on symbols. Once you see the symbol, oh, you already know, come on, this is this bank. And banks are big on symbols. First City Monument Bank, they always build their banks. The bank is always exactly colors. The FCMB is always colored white. And it looks like a building that is from it looks like a British building. It's white, they use nice pillar, all those things. You get EcoBank, you know that it is, what's that color of EcoBank? What's that EcoBank color, Seth? I can't remember. Do you get logos, the symbols, their logos, and all those things? There was this time when Access Bank, once you are a staff of Access Bank, they give you Kiario, navy blue. Thank you, William. Once you're a staff of Access Bank, you get a Kiario. Guys, please. Once you're a staff of Access Bank, you get a Kiario. And the Kiario, you know, that time, even which company is that? Which company is that? I think it's KPMG or PwC that time. That time, it's not now, that time back then, that most of their junior associates, all of them, Toyota Camry, you know that Camry Uber, or I say Uber, that muscle, Toyota muscle, that's what they were using, I think, all 3-4 years ago. Most of them, amongst everybody. If you go to a company, that time in Ikoyi, yeah, if you're in Ikoyi and you go to a company and you see 3 different Toyota muscle, auditors don't do this place. Now, that's just symbols. It's not written in any law. Nobody wrote it anywhere that all of you must buy Toyota muscle. But then it's just affordable and everybody rolled with it. Do you get? That's that. Then the next one, the next step in the cultural web is power structure. Organizations have their, what's it called? They have their organogram, yes. But you would agree with me that there is that one person in the company. The person is not a high-ranking official or anything, but anything the person says is fine now. Why? Because the person has been there for so long, or the person is related to the chairman or something. For some reason, either expertise or experience, one thing. There's just that one person that even if you have questions as a manager, you will tell your subordinate to go and ask so person. Do you understand? Besides that, then there's organizational structure, and I talked about that earlier, that there's an organogram. It flows from top to bottom. That's what the cultural web is about. And last but not the least, there are control systems in place. Control systems in place, you know, performance measurement and reward systems. Especially in banking, there are control systems in place. You know that if you meet up with your target, it means that your bonus will be bumper at the end of the year. Do you get it? Now, note this last thing that I put in bold. I said the cultural web within a company shapes its corporate ethics. The cultural web shapes its corporate ethics, and that's key. Can we say take the 3 levels of culture? We have 9 minutes. Let's run through it. I'm just going to, I'll run through it in 3 minutes. Edgar Stein says something about the 3 levels of culture. There's an outer skin, there's an inner layer, and then there's the heart. The heart is on the next page. Outer skin, that's the first level. The outer skin is what people see. Do you get it? The outer skin is what people see, as a bank, as RCCG, for example, when people come to the church, that outer skin, what they see, the gates, everybody, the people that greet them, the greeters and the lights. That's the outer skin. You get it? The facility for banks, for example, the facility, the customer service, the way you get greeted from the security to the website, what they tell you on the websites that we are, our values, this is what we want, this is what we do to the society, and all of that. The CSR initiative that you do, providing quality service. Sterling Bank used to say they are the one customer bank. First Bank, we say they are truly the first. That's the outer skin, the part that they show to everybody. Next level is the inner layer. And the inner layer is about the employees, about the views that they have on issues, on things like putting customer first. It's an inbuilt thing. That's the inner layer. It goes around in the employees. We put customers first, or we do professionalism first, things like that. The inner layer. All companies have theirs, so it varies from company to company. It is an identity thing. Do you get it? It is an identity thing for companies, and the inner layer is deeper than the outer skin, obviously, and I know you agree with that the inner layer is deeper than the outer skin, because this shows the company as the company is, but the group of people that get to see this are the employees. They understand the company, they understand the view of the company, they already know that, okay, this is how we treat customers that are disgruntled, this is what we do to suppliers, we pay our suppliers at so day, we pay suppliers at so day, our bank interest, bank charges, all these things, we pay it at so day. Do you understand? All these, the employees in the company would share common view. They have insight that is not the same that is not the insight you will see if you walk into the company on the first day. Do you get it? You would agree with me that the day you start working in a company, what you know about the company then compared to what you know today is not the same. Do you understand? And last but not the least, we have the heart. The heart. Now, the heart is the company's ambience. Do you get it? It is the company's ambience. It is a shared assumption. Nobody, for example, let me ask you. Let me ask you. If you are a retiree, all these retirees, all these government retirees, let me ask you, where do you think their bank account is? Back then, we think it's either with Union Bank or with First Bank. Do you get it? Because those are banks that have been in existence. One time they even used to call First Bank the pensioners bank, because most of the people that opened their account with First Bank early enough, they are currently either retired or dead. Do you understand? The heart is pretty much what a company is about. Do you get it? For some, it's professionalism. For some, is inclusion, and that is all that there is to. Excuse me. And that is all that there is to the levels of culture according to Edgar Stein. Guys, please note, what Edgar Stein is saying is not the same as what Johnson and Scholes is saying. Levels of culture, workplace culture, or company culture, that's Edgar Stein's perspective. Corporate cultural web is Johnson and Scholes. Guys, don't mix it up. All right, so the last gist for today is culture, ethics, and global companies. Now, for example, global companies have real issues with culture and ethics, because the culture and ethics in the UK is not culture and ethics in Nigeria, and it's not the same as in Singapore or China. Do you get it? So if you are an SPDC or an IOC, International Oil and Gas Company, that you have companies, you have branches all around the world. It is difficult for you to have a unified company culture because what is obtainable in Texas, United States, is probably not obtainable in Italy. Do you get it? So all these things need to be considered. The way you would pay. So let me ask you, for example, we have KPMG Canada, we have KPMG United States, and we have KPMG Nigeria. I'll ask you a simple question. Do they pay them the same way? If you're a manager in KPMG Nigeria, are you going to be paid the same way they pay a manager in KPMG Canada or a manager in KPMG United States? No. Why? Changes in culture, changes in location, and all of that. It has nothing to do with ethics. So it is, if you are a multinational, it is difficult to have a unified ethical stance as a company. So your ethics will vary from place to place. However, if your company, if you have just one company, so what we're saying is that ethics is easy to be managed. Ethics gets difficult to manage when you are an international company or a multinational company. So far, so good. Are we clear? We have 3 more minutes. Any question? Except you want me to do it. Any question, no question. Do you understand? Yes, we understand. But yeah, guys, tell me. Any question? Hit me. Any question, guys? Our class is about to end. Another class needs to use these login details. So I need to close by 11 on the dot. But please, I beg you guys, come early to class next week. Class starts by 8 o'clock, not 8:30, not 8:50, not 9 o'clock. Class starts by 8 o'clock. So please, let's have this at the back of our mind. Another class needs to use our login details. So any question, guys? Or we can do any question, no question. Do you understand? Yes, you understand. So talk to me, people. Talk to me, people. Any question? I've shared this note with you, so you're free to go through it and reach out to me on WhatsApp if you have questions. I could send you a voice note to respond to any question you have. Thank you, Ozana. Ozana said no question. All right. Please submit my assignment by Wednesday. For those of you that didn't do the previous assignment, the deadline is Tuesday, but this new assignment submits by Wednesday. Thank you for banking with us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a wonderful day, guys.